right, guys, I'm back and I am picking up from where I left off in the last video. So we are actually starting chapter 4, and I just want to say this to begin because some of you may not have seen the first video I did. I would suggest watching it in its entirety before watching this video because it will make more sense, because it is a story and it does have a beginning and an ending. I am going to be getting into a lot of things about the cult that I was a part of. However, we are working our way to that part, and I want to read something that is on the back of my book because it makes so much sense. It says, "Make sure that the light you have isn't darkness." Now, the Lord told us that there is a light that's darkness, and that to beware that the light in us isn't that darkness. I call that the Luciferian light. Lucifer does present as an angel of righteousness. He does present himself as an angel of light, and his ministers or his angels appear as angels of light, of ministers of righteousness, but they are anything but. That is the kind of cult that I fell into. I thought it was the true gospel, the true light. It was not. It was a false light, a different gospel. So this is my story. Most churches today have been touched by this cult, whether you're aware of it or not. Probably because whenever I talk about this, I get a lot of pushback. I did used to talk about it a lot more. I stopped and kind of got into, dealing with more alternative news type things. But I do feel that time is short and that this is what I do need to be doing. So again, we're going to pick up, and we're going to pick up exactly where we left off in the last video, picking up with chapter 4. Now, as we get closer and into my involvement in the cult, then, I am going to expound on some of those things that some of you may or may not understand. That's why I am not turning off the comments for this, because there may be people that have questions that are legitimate. Now, a lot of times that I find when I'm talking about this stuff, it's like trolls come from everywhere, because there's a lot involved in this occult, and it's pretty much touched every denomination, not all, but most. So anyway, I'm going to get on with it right now. We're going to start with, or pick up at, chapter 4, called A Terrible Crashing. And I think it would be helpful if I read the last paragraph that I read before this chapter begins, because it does make sense. Of course, I was brought up in I was brought up in a cult-like, I have a cult-like background, because the church that my family was a part of was very, very restrictive, and I myself fell into that same trap, getting involved in these churches that, basically you're trying for sinless perfection. Well, that's not ever going to work. So I was so tired of the masks, the charades, the striving for perfection, the never measuring up. It was like pinning paper leaves on a dying tree. If you were skilled enough, you could fool some, but it would never change the tree itself or stop its decay. I had been pinning paper leaves for a very long time while I rotted from the inside. Sure, you can pin leaves on a dying tree for a while. You can even prop up the rotting wood for a season. But sooner or later, when the storms come and the winds blow hard, you will fall to the ground with a terrible crashing. And chapter 4 is A Terrible Crashing. I awake, skin yellow from jaundice, cold gray machines hissing from behind my bed. I stare at a bag of liquid, drip, drip, dripping into my arm. The sheets are tightly tucked and my feet feel imprisoned. I want to kick at the sheets to loosen them, but my legs will not obey. I don't know how long I've been here, only that a pink sliver of light is glowing through the crack in the curtains and falling across the sterile white sheets. Is it morning or evening? I can't tell. My mind races desperately. What happened? Why am I here? The sickening realization washes over me like raw sewage. What a loser. I can't even kill myself properly. A doctor comes. She stands over me. She checks the tubes and shakes her head. You're dying, she says, in a detached voice. I say nothing. She speaks to me again. My eyes follow her around the room, but I say nothing. I know you hear me, she grunts. She stares, pausing for a moment before shaking her head again. What a waste, she mutters. What a tragic waste. I want to respond. I want to tell her that I've been dying for a very long time. A man comes, a kind man with vivid blue eyes. His presence fills the room. He is paralyzed from the waist down and walks with leg braces and crutches. He sits by my bed and studies me. I wonder who he is, but I dare not ask. He tenderly takes my hand, which arouses a knot of emotion I cannot untangle. There is a nurse present to draw blood. He asks her to leave, and she hurriedly obeys. His eyes are moist and empathetic. I can help you, he whispers. He has a high-bred English lilt that is strangely soothing. I struggle to stay aloof. If I were a betting man, I wouldn't have put money on you pulling through, he muses. I am silent. He pauses, studies me for a moment, and continues. On some level, you must have wanted to live to have survived those odds. Maybe you just wanted the pain to stop. I lay unmoving, staring at the ceiling, his empathy suddenly making me aware of a crushing need to be understood. Why is he so kind to me? He must want something. Inside, I want to rage against him. I want to tell him to leave and never come back, that his mere presence causes pain. But I can't. I'm unable to arrange my thoughts into words, so I say nothing. I'll see you tomorrow, he says. As he leaves, there's a fury of activity. As he leaves, there's a fury of activity around him. He orders the nurses and gives instructions to the doctors. She's to be treated well, he says to the nurses. Treat her as if she were my daughter. He comes back the next day, and the next day after that. I find out he is the head of psychiatry at the hospital and a professor at the university. The nurses tell me I'm very fortunate to have someone of his stature take such a personal interest in my well-being. They tell me that there have only been a handful of patients he has ever worked that closely with. They say I should be grateful for the time he invests in me, but most of the time I'm too angry to be grateful. My anger does not intimidate or dissuade him, and he tells me so. He tells me I'm to call him David. But the intimacy of that small act unravels me, so I avoid his name altogether. I feel safer at a distance. Trust is hard won in my world, and he is a long way from earning mine. They transfer me out of intensive care. The nurses busy themselves removing things from my room. I don't question them. I let them go through my personal belongings and purse. I'm too weak to put up much resistance. They remove the laces from my shoes and take away my jewelry. They shake their heads and cluck their tongues. I don't want to watch them, so I stare at the floor. I notice their shoes. They have ugly shoes. We can't leave anything that will be a temptation to you, they announce. I look at them incredulously. I could still remove the curtains and strangle myself, or I could drown myself in the tub. They do not see the humor in this, and they tell David. When he comes to see me, he smiles. You mustn't tease the nurses, he says, grinning. I am pleased that he understands. He gives me back my belongings, and that angers the nurses. I flash them a sarcastic smile the next time I see them. It is morning, and I am in David's office. Pull your chair closer. I'm close enough. Please, I want to see your eyes. Pull your chair closer. I sigh. The chair is heavy and the task seems difficult. My interns were here for a meeting this morning and they moved the furniture. Please, Mishel, pull it closer. I rise, stand behind the chair and push, then fold myself back into it, trying to take up as little space as possible. David reaches for a small lamp and positions it so the light falls across my face. His office is always dim except for this small light. You are still in a lot of pain, he says flatly. I say nothing. His secretary comes in with hot tea and he pauses, taking a long sip before placing it on the table beside him. Would you like me to have her bring you some? I shake my head, somehow thinking that accepting this small token might make me indebted to him. My eyes travel the room, studying his oil paintings and roaming over the books from Oxford. I went to school at Oxford, he offers, somehow extracting the question from me before it has been asked. My interest is piqued. That is where C.S. Lewis taught. Did you know him? Do you like C.S. Lewis, he asks. Did you know him? I repeat. Yes, I knew him. Really? You knew him? We weren't personal friends, if that's what you're asking, but yes, I knew him. My eyes travel the room, finally locking on a picture of a ship on rough seas. Do you like that picture, he asks. Huh? The one you are staring at. Are you looking at it or just staring? I shrug. You must feel very much like that ship, tossed and buffeted, torn by the tempest. I smile and turn to find his eyes. Yes, I whisper, that is exactly how I feel. You have a fascination with water, don't you, Mishel? I look away, my eyes traveling to the window and outside to the blue-gray sky. A light snow has begun to fall. Did you know that I sail? He continues. Yes, I think you told me, or maybe I read it in the paper. It makes me feel free with the water beneath me. I can almost forget that my legs are paralyzed. I have a boat with special riggings I can control with my hands. He pauses for a moment and studies me. How does water make you feel? It's an odd question, and I reflect for a moment before answering. Nervous, I say faintly. You can never really know what's down there. It frightens you? I shrug again and look away. I didn't say that it frightened me. Then what? Are you afraid you will drown? No, it's not that. I'm a strong swimmer. Then what? I don't know. Maybe I'm afraid of being pulled under. Ah, he says, smugly, as if somehow he was expecting this enigmatic answer. I had a dream a few years back. I hesitate and look away, wondering why I've brought it up. Yes, go on, I'm listening. I was in the river by my childhood home. The river has a swift current, and the water is carried over dams that power the hydroelectric plant. The people from the Holiness Church were there. They were running and laughing and playing catch on the shore. I was in the water and being carried by the current, which was pulling at me from underneath. I was crying out, but nobody heard me. The pastor was there. He was a kind enough man and very sincere, but in my dream he was just staring at me, clutching a life vest against his chest. He wouldn't throw it to me. He kept it there against his chest, blankly staring, watching the current pull me under. How did that make you feel? How do you think it made me feel? Desperate, I suppose, maybe even angry or betrayed. Can I ask what you were doing in the water in the first place? He looked at me quizzically, then nods slightly and purses his lips as if he already has the answer. I don't know. What kind of a question is that? I was in the water when the dream started. I must have been pushed in, or maybe I fell in. I don't know. Or maybe you just got in willingly, he added. He smiles, taking a sip of tea and holding it to his lips for a moment as he studies me from above the rim. No, I did not get in willingly. Only an idiot would get into the middle of that river with such a strong undertow. Why on earth would I have done that? Well, isn't it obvious? No, it's not obvious at all. You thought you were safe. I look at him, mouth ajar, not wanting to believe, but suddenly realizing it's too late. The truth has found its mark and penetrated like an arrow. You were being pulled under the water by deception and lies, the belief that you had to be perfect for God or anyone else to love and accept you. You looked to your pastor to save you, but he couldn't. He either didn't know he had a life vest or he didn't know how to use it. This is precisely why I think you got into the water willingly. You would have had no reason to fear the water because you thought you were safe. I look away, unable and unwilling to look him in the eyes. I don't know, I whisper. I think you're reading too much into it. It was just a stupid dream. I don't think it was such a stupid dream, Mishel, and I don't think you do either. After all, it was you who brought it up. My eyes travel to the window again. The snow is collecting in the corners of the sill and the sky is darkening. In the corner of the sills and the sky is darkening. My mind begins to wander. Mishel, Mishel. My eyes catch David's hand waving in my peripheral vision. Where are you? What are you thinking? I don't know, I shrug. Yes, you do know. You must tell me. I don't know. Honestly, I wasn't thinking anything. I mean, nothing related. I was just thinking. You were lost for a moment. Where'd you go? Nowhere. I was just thinking thoughts, blank thoughts, random thoughts, stuff like that. Mishel, you mustn't lie to me. Avoiding your pain will only make things worse. You can't be whole until you face this. Do you understand? I nod and look away, then cross my legs away from him and stare at his paintings. Mishel, what are you feeling right now? I don't know. You do know. Tell me. I feel frustrated. I'm trying so very hard, but I'm lost. It's dark and cold and I'm all alone. No one will show me the way out. I feel abandoned and rejected, like nothing I ever do will be good enough. All I can see is darkness, heavy darkness around me, in me. It's everywhere, and it's just sucking me further and further under. It's drowning me. I pause, trying to gain composure, terrified that the tears filling my eyes will spill down my cheeks as a testament to my pain. I take a deep breath and continue. Sometimes I wake up in the night and I feel I can't go on, that it's all too much for me. I shake my head, wiping my tears with my sleeve. Then I think maybe, if I can hold on through the night, morning will come and the darkness will go. My voice trails off. I look above his eyes and stare at the ceiling, trying to quell the rush of tears. Yes, he whispers, that's exactly right. The morning will come, and the darkness will leave, but you must endure until then. He smiles, searches my eyes, and continues. By replacing the lies you have believed with the truth, you will find your way out. I can't walk it for you. But God is with you, of that I am sure. I squeezed my eyes shut, trying more than anything to stop the sobs rising somewhere deep within. Oh, Mishel, he whispers, leaning toward me and pressing a tissue into the palm of my hand. You have believed so many lies. There will be a new beginning for you. There will be. You'll see. And I'm going to slip right into chapter 5 because we do have the time to do that. And number 5 is called A New Beginning. Now, the beginning of my journey into the cult is coming. This chapter, of course, David promised me a new beginning, and that is what I got. It's New Year's Eve, and I'm sitting in a downtown bar sipping wine. My boyfriend is chatting with friends, laughing, gesturing. He speaks to me once, twice, maybe more. I turn my head in his direction, but look straight through him. You've had too much to drink, he says flatly. It's only my first, I reply, turning to look at the others. I study their faces, trying to appear interested when clearly I am not. I lean toward my boyfriend, not wanting others to hear. I don't want to be here, I whisper. He leans back, shakes his head, and knits his brows together in a puzzled frown. I didn't force you to come tonight. You wanted to come. Do you have another pressing engagement I don't know about? No, but I do think I'm supposed to be somewhere. I look past him, not wanting to look him in the eyes. I don't understand, he says, concern registering in his eyes. He gestures to the waitress to bring me another before turning to look at me again. No, I don't want any more. I want to go. Please, come with me. There is a note of urgency in my voice that surprises me. You're not making sense, Mishel. Go with you where? I'm embarrassed now. The others are looking at me. I pause, afraid to say what I need to say, but unable to keep from saying it. I need to go to church, I stammer. I need to be right with God. The others are laughing now. My boyfriend is staring, not knowing what to say. Are you serious? You are actually going to leave me here on New Year's Eve and go to church? There are no churches open on New Year's Eve, the others chide. They look at each other and laugh loudly, a boisterous laugh that has no doubt come from too many beer. I stand up quickly. My mind is made up. I take my black wool coat from the back of the chair and heave it around my shoulders, slipping my arms into it and buttoning quickly. I snatch my scarf and hurriedly wrap it around my neck and then sling my purse over my shoulder and turn to leave. She's probably going to meet a man, one of them says in a hushed tone. No, my boyfriend interjects. I think she may actually be going to, church. I push the heavy wooden door open and step out into the frigid winter night. Without looking back, I walk to my car, bracing myself against the sting of cold. What did I just do? This makes no sense. Why am I so sure there's a church open? I begin to drive. There's a large Pentecostal church on the edge of town. There must be people there. As I make the approach up the hill, I can see a sprinkling of cars in the church parking lot. A feeling of relief washes over me. I pull in, park, and exit the car, striding quickly to the entrance door. What am I doing here? I don't know these people. What will I say to them? I take a deep breath, open the door as quickly as possible, and step inside. Maybe nobody will notice me, and I'll be able to slip in the back unnoticed. As the door shuts behind me, I suddenly realize that going unnoticed will not be an option. An usher strides toward me with his hand outstretched. Welcome, welcome. I nod and swallow, not knowing what to say, or if, indeed, I should say anything. They're praying now, getting ready for communion. He leads me in quietly, but even so, heads rise and turn in unison, staring for a moment before turning back to pray. I slowly slip off my coat and scarf, desperately fearful that the pew will creak. I sit looking forward with a wide-eyed stare, transfixed by the silver communion cups gleaming in the lights. I want to take communion, I think. I want so badly to be right with God. The pastor is a tall, clean-cut man, stylish without being overdressed. His eyes scan the congregation and lock on mine. I look away. When he stops speaking, I stand to my feet and start toward the altar, before my mind has even registered what I'm doing. There is an associate pastor at the front facing the congregation, and he holds out a hand toward me. I smile awkwardly as I come to a stop before him. What is your name? He asks, taking both my hand and his. My name is Mishel, and I can't stand it anymore. I want to be right with God. I used to be a Christian, but I messed up. I want to try again. The associate pastor shakes his head. No one can reach God's standard on their own, Mishel. He reaches for a Bible on the altar, flips through the pages quickly, nodding when he's found his mark. Look here in Romans 10, 3-4. For they, being ignorant of God's righteousness and seeking to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted to the righteousness of God. For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness. I'm sorry, having trouble reading tonight. For they, being ignorant of God's righteousness and seeking to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted to the righteousness of God, for Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone who believes. The scribes and Pharisees, with their hundreds of laws, trusted in what they did to be righteous, and they failed. We are justified by our faith in Jesus Christ, not by trying to be good. Let's look at Galatians 2:16. Knowing that a man is not judged by the works of the law, but by the faith of Jesus Christ, even we have believed in Jesus Christ, that we might be justified by the faith of Christ, and not by the works of law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. I was trying to justify myself in my own flesh, and the Bible plainly says that our flesh cannot be justified. It cannot be. We need Christ. You see, no one can be justified by trying to be good, Mishel. The law was meant to show us what sin is. If there was no law saying it's wrong to covet, then how would man ever know it was wrong to covet? He pauses for a moment and smiles before continuing. Look over here in Romans 7:7. It tells us the very same thing. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had never known sin but by the law, for I had not known lust except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. You can't be good enough. That is why you need a savior. You need to submit to him and allow him to do the work in you. You will transform. He will transform you through the renewing of your mind, not through you trying to be good. Confess your sin, pray, read your Bible, and then get with other believers who can encourage you and help you grow. But do you really think he will give me a second chance? Of course, he is the God of second chances, and third and fourth and fifth chances too. I can assure you he's been waiting for his prodigal daughter to come home. He loves you. Do you really think so? I asked, suddenly hopeful. He smiles. His eyes are kind and understanding. Of course, you need only to return and ask his forgiveness. I nod, biting my lip to stop the tears. His wife grabs a box of tissues from behind the altar and presses one into the palm of my hand before drawing me in for a long hug. When we separate, her husband continues, Mishel, do you believe Jesus is the Son of God? Yes, I nod. Do you believe that he died for your sins and on the third day rose from the dead? Yes. Do you believe that if you confess your sins, he is faithful and just to forgive those sins and cleanse you from all unrighteousness? Yes. Can you ask him to forgive you out loud? We will agree with you in prayer. I nod and softly begin to pray. I'm sorry, Lord. I'm so sorry. I want you to forgive me and be the Lord and ruler of my life again. My life changed rapidly and rapidly once my life changed radically and rapidly once I had rededicated my life to the Lord. I immersed myself in this church. Finally, I felt fulfilled and part of a church family that loved and supported me. I finished university, then spent a brief span of time in Central American rainforest doing missions. I am in Palacios, a small isolated village on the northeastern coast of Honduras. It's a bucolic place hewn from the rainforest and accessible only by water or small plain. The area is populated with Garifuna and Mosquito Indians and had no running water, electricity, or phone lines. It is a place that appeals to the spirit, but definitely not the flesh. I had met up with American missionaries here and have busied myself with teaching their children. On this particular day, the children skip across the well-worn path to my tiny hut. It is more like a dollhouse than a proper dwelling, and there's barely enough room to move inside. It overlooks one of the marshy inland waterways which snake through the thick jungle terrain. Today is exceptionally hot. The oldest of the missionary children calls to me, Hey, Miss Mishel, the men are going swimming and we're going too. Please, will you come with us? I scrunch my face up and shake my head. The water's not safe to swim in. Sure it is. We swim here all the time. Please come. The idea of cooling off and ridding myself of the dust stuck to my sweating skin is more than I can resist. Yeah, hang on, I yell. Let me change and grab a towel. I'll be right out. She's coming, they holler across to their mother who's hanging over the gate of the missionary compound across the way. I walk out to join the children who can barely stand still for excitement. Mishel, don't swallow any water, their mother yells. It could make you terribly sick. Keep your head above water. Oh, and don't go in the middle. The current is too swift. Stay close to the shore. Oh, and whatever you do, don't go near the marshy part. There are crocodiles in there. I'm an excellent swimmer, I yell back before turning away from her and knitting my brows together in a worried frown. Did she say crocodiles? No, she shakes her head vigorously. It doesn't matter how well you swim. Please stay near the shore where your feet can touch the bottom. I tramp down the well-worn path, laughing with the children as they sing songs in Spanish. The trees are a canopy overhead, and the sounds of exotic birds and howler monkeys echo through the dense branches. I love it here. When we get to the river, the men are already chest deep in the middle of the waterway. I watch for a few moments, then climb in the shallow sandy area where the kids are playing. The water is divine. I wade out a bit from the edge. Don't go past the sandy area, the children warn. It isn't safe. The men are standing in a clump, talking and laughing in the middle of the waterway. Hey, I call to them. I thought the middle was too deep to stand. It is, they shout back. There's a small sandbar we're standing on. Come on out. Can I walk straight out to it from here? No, there's a deep spot in between you and us. When you get to the end of the sandy area where you are, push off with your feet, swim hard, and we'll catch and pull you up. You should be able to stand here. It's not that deep. No, no, they say. What if I miss the sandbar? No, no, they say, shaking their heads vigorously. You don't want to miss the sandbar. The current will carry you into the marshy area. There's crocodiles in there. Oh, come on, I scoff. For real? The men laugh. It'll be all right. We'll catch you. You'll be safe. As promised, they grab me and pull me up to the sandbar, but I immediately know I'm in trouble. I'm far shorter than the shortest man, making the water far too high for me to stand against the current. Within seconds, I have slipped beyond their grasp. I fight and thrash, exhausting myself with my flailing as I am sucked beneath the water. I fight to quell the rising panic. I'm a good swimmer. Stay calm. When my head bobs above the surface, I hear the shouts. Keep pushing toward the shore. Don't fight the current. Push toward the shore. I am nearing the marshy section and their shouts are getting louder. The men and children are on the shore now, running alongside me. When they see me getting closer to the shore, they run and get into the water near the shore ahead of me. As I pass, one of the men grabs my outstretched arm and pulls me into safety. I am too weak to climb out. My legs are sinking deeply into the black mud of the marsh. Two of the men on shore grab each arm and pull me out of the mud with a terrible sucking noise. There I lay where I've fallen, covered in filth, heaving and coughing up water. You shouldn't have followed us out to the sandbar, one of the men says sheepishly. I didn't follow you out there. You called me out. Well, why on earth would you listen to us? They question apologetically. I wait for a moment, chest heaving, before adding in measured breaths. You said I would be safe. It seems unthinkable that soon I would be willing to dive headlong into a dangerous river of another kind. Not content with the shallows, I would be lured straightway into unsafe depths. There I would be swept unwittingly into the river's cryptic tide. This time it would not be so easy to escape. There would be no one there to pull me out. There would be no one left to pull me out. So that is really the end of the introduction, and from there the book goes into the movement that I was part of and why it is so dangerous and the things that happened to me there. That is chapter 6, and it is called The River People. I think I will pause there for this evening, and tomorrow we will pick up with another couple, 2 or 3 chapters, and so I hope that you get something out of this. It was necessary to give the beginning because it makes sense. It helps to explain why I fell into this movement, how I fell into this movement, and it explains how I got out and why it is so dangerous. So I hope that you will be interested enough to listen to the series. And that's going to be it for tonight. I love you guys. I'm grateful to be able to do this, and I will see you in the next video. Good night, guys.